Welcome to today's webinar on the use of AI in medicine, hosted by the Jaffna Medical Faculty Overseas Alumni UK. We are delighted to have you all here. As part of our commitment to professional development, Jaffna Medical Faculty Overseas Alumni has been hosting monthly webinars since June 2020. Today's session is particularly important as AI is transforming the way we practice medicine. I'm Dr. Ranga Niranjanan. I'll be moderating the session today. Before we begin, a few housekeeping notes. This presentation will run for about 45 minutes, followed by 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A. Please keep your microphones muted during the presentation to minimize any background noise. Feel free to post your questions in the chat box at any time. We will address them during the Q&A session. The webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand from Yogadana. As you know, AI is rapidly reshaping medicine from diagnosis to personalized treatment. It has the potential to enhance clinical decision-making, improve efficiency, and support patient care in ways we've never imagined. Today, we will explore how AI is currently being applied in healthcare, its benefits, challenges, and what the future holds. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Selvaseelan Selvaraja. He's a partner at Bromley by BioHealth, serves as a training program director for both the GPVTS and the International Medical Graduate GP trainees. He's a National Council member of the RCGP, a UK Council representative for the BMA, the GP Out of Hours Clinical Lead, Director of Green Light at GP. He's also an ambassador for AcuRx, which we are all familiar with. We are thrilled to have him with us to share his insights. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Selva. Dr. Selva, over to you.
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that introduction. I'm just going to load up my presentation. It's here somewhere. There it is. Okay. Can you all can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you can see this. Is the slide changing now? Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ranga. As she introduced us, I'm a GP partner in Bromley by Bow, which is in Tower Hamlets in East London. So we have 4 sites and serve about 52,000 patients across Mile End, Bromley by Bow, and Stepney Green areas. So I'm a TPD for Guy's and St Thomas's GPVTS, and also do a pan-London role as a TPD for IMG GP trainees. So I don't know if you know, about 56% of all GP trainees now are IMGs across the country. But they face a lot of challenges with exam, racism, other forms of discrimination, and various other things. So that's why this role was set up. I set it up back in 2021. So I work for NHS England. But one of the major issues is funding. So funding is really precarious. So funding for next year hasn't been confirmed yet with all the changes that's happening to NHS England. So we're not sure what's going to happen. I'm also on the RCGP and the BMA National Councils, an out-of-hours clinical lead in Hackney. That's my email. If anybody wants to email me or get in touch with me. And so that's a T-shirt my team gave me. When I do triage, this is what I tell the patient, tell the team to tell the patients. If you want, go to the pharmacy, go to self-referred to this service, that service. If they can't help, we can. So that's the kind of my catchphrase. So they made a T-shirt out of that for my birthday. AI. And so I'll make it as interactive as possible. So just feel free to interrupt me just I don't want to just talk at you, so I would like it to be as interactive as possible. What is our kind of understanding about AI? Anyone want to? The answers on the slides, but it'd be good to have some exchanges about. So what does AI mean to all of us? Let me talk about AI.
It's replace our brain.
It's not going to replace our brain. I'll guarantee that. Yeah. That's always the fear. So whether it's going to replace us. So I did a talk to the GP trainees yesterday about this topic, and we were talking about what is the place of AI? Where do you see AI for doctors or in kind of in our lives in general?
I think it's process the large mass of data in a short time.
Absolutely. So I think that the way to think about AI is to think of it like an assistant rather than like having a PA at all time, a personal assistant at all times. So that's the way I would think about AI rather than as something that's going to replace us. And I'll tell you throughout the talk, and I'll try and convince you it's not going to. Our jobs are all safe, regardless of your specialty. But I think there are lots of things that we do will be augmented by AI. And do you know what I mean by tools to agents? My last sentence in that. Anyone want to kind of what I mean by tools to agents? So yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, like train models, like from ChatGPT, a model like Heidi or something like that. The tools we use. Yeah.
So basically, at the moment, we use the computer. I've used PowerPoint to make this presentation. That's a tool, and I use my brain and a bit of ChatGPT to come up with this presentation, right? So whereas they are moving towards being agents. So we have agencies. It means we can decide autonomously. We can decide we want to write this poem, or we want to write this consultation, or we want to do something. So we have agency. So AI is basically it's a technology that's moving from being a tool to an agent. So it can decide things autonomously. So ambient AI can work quietly in the background. So for example, it can monitor my pulse, my BP, oxygen sats, and various other parameters, and then give a report to my GPS. Say, okay, this is his risk of having an MI. You can do a Q risk without us actually putting in the data. Lots of other things. So there's a lot of work being done in wearable monitors and AI, and then there's also robotic process automation, RPA. So this is factories essentially. Factories. Some surgeries might get automated in the future. Some kind of surgical specialties, but so that's also uses AI. But for us, what we talk about when we talk about AI is actually large language models. So that's what ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude. There's quite a lot of them. So I'm not going to focus on the first two, robotic and ambient AI. The was mostly be focused on large language models, which basically analyze and create human language. That's what they essentially do. So so it can help us with diagnostic assistance. So it's already being used in radiology, oncology, and various other things. And it's a field that's rapidly expanding. And it can help us with clinical decision support. So for example, in diagnosis, so that there are AI triage tools, which essentially tells you which patient to look at first when you're triaging. I could see AI being used for advice and guidance if you're in a hospital. So because you're going to get lots of advice and guidance from April, GPs are going to get paid to do advice and guidance. So expect an increased referral. And so there's going to be more work coming your way. So I wouldn't be surprised if the hospital trust start using some kind of AI technology to not only analyze the triages, but also when you're responding as well. And it does create lots of efficiency. So things like someone's already mentioned Heidi, there's Tortoise, and there's various other ones. I'll demonstrate a couple of them today. But I think one of the things we need to be aware of is the ethical and legal issues. So how where's the data stored? So at the moment, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, they're all US companies, and you've got DeepSeek, which is a Chinese company. How are they storing the data? What are they doing with the data? So ChatGPT, for instance, is in legal trouble because what they've been doing is, just like all the other providers, they trawl all the data on the internet. So essentially, these large language models trawl all the data on the internet and then come up with the answer for you. So Guardian, BBC, and a few other news media are suing ChatGPT because this is their material that is using to come up with the answers that we are looking for. With everything that's happening in the USA and the political climate there, so there's lots of and likewise with China, so there's lots of legal and ethical issues that we need to think about, especially when we start using patient data. So I think that's going to be kind of one of the biggest challenges, because at the moment the regulation is very much lagging behind. So a lot of us are actually using AI without thinking about the implications of, so every time you use ChatGPT, all your searches is getting used to improve ChatGPT. And ChatGPT was a non-profit organization. Now it's been taken back into for-profit, so it's changing as well. So these are the kind of things we need to think about. Any kind of questions or comments on this at all? Okay, I'll move on. So large language models, you can use voice, text, or image, and then it will give you the answer. You can do analysis, image captioning, and it can recognize objects. So one of the things I do is, so these are some of the providers. As I use, so I've got a pro account for Perplexity, so I'll show you that in a second. And Proxy is also quite a good one, if you haven't heard of that. What I'll do is I'll come out of the presentation and kind of demonstrate a couple of these things. So ChatGPT, for instance, did you know you can have a conversation with it in Tamil? And did anyone know that?
Yeah.
No? So,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah? Has anyone had a conversation with it in Tamil?
I try to maintain, but it is not very efficient as in English.
Yeah. So it's actually it's got an Indian Tamil accent. Yeah, so it's quite interesting, but it can so you can say if someone doesn't speak English as a first language and they're the doctors, they could actually log on to ChatGPT and use the voice function to communicate with the doctors, because it will translate from Tamil voice to English voice, and vice versa. So it's quite a good way of doing it. And then the image captioning. One of the things you could do, you could so you write something on a piece of paper, for instance, and you haven't got time to copy and paste. You haven't got time to copy that onto the computer. You can just take a photo of it and upload it to ChatGPT, and it will turn all of that into words. You can ask it to summarize it. You can ask it to draw an image based on that. So let me show you a couple of things with this. So I'm just going to log on to Proxy. Can you see this? Yeah, so this is Perplexity. So I've got a pro account for that. So it's quite a good one. So this is what I've been using today. So a patient came to see me and she had a periventricular leukomalacia. The child has a periventricular leukomalacia. So it was asking me, what does that mean? So I just put it on Perplexity, and it kind of gives you the answer pretty quickly. And what it does is, one of the good things about this is it tells you where it's getting the information from. So all the sources. So this is a Children's Hospital Cerebral Palsy Guide, Birth Injury Justice Center, and it's got 11 different sources it's taken the information from. So it will tell you where it's got the information from. So that's an important thing, because AI hallucinates. So it's really important that whatever source that whatever you're looking at AI for, you've got to make sure the information is accurate. So if it is coming from reliable sources, then it's much more reliable. And then a quick patient leaflet with less than 40 words on how to manage conjunctivitis in a 1-year-old in British English. So I asked that, and it just gave me that. And then it's given, and then it will ask, how can I prevent further questions related to that? And then it will create a plan, and so on. So this is some of the ways that you could actually use either ChatGPT or Perplexity or the other any of the other ones. So one of the advantages with Perplexity is that, can you see here, we say Sonar. Sonar is Perplexity's search model, but it does search on Claude, which is another large language model. It does use ChatGPT, so you can use ChatGPT's GPT-4, and then you can also use Gemini, which is a Google one, and then Grok is the one that Elon Musk uses to control all of us. So you can actually choose which one of these models you want to use with Perplexity. So that's why I like this one compared to ChatGPT and the others, but they're all very similar. So this is quite good for research purposes. Any kind of questions on this at all? No. Okay. So, and then I'll show you another one.
Yo vengo, ¿qué día vengo?
The other one I would also recommend, if you're, so it probably isn't going to work if you're very academic, but if you're if you're not a strong academic like me, this is quite a good one. Let me just one second.
I know, just telling you. How's the sushi?
Could we put on mute, please?
Hello. I'm just looking for who is studying.
Oh, not this one. Okay, 1 second.
Kalyamika, can you put your microphone on mute, please?
You can't do it?
We can hear you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so this one is also, so this is called proxy.convergence.ai. This one is quite good for if you're thinking about writing an academic paper. So I asked the question earlier on, write an academic paper on the use of aspirin in ischemic heart disease, make it about 500 words, use references from around the world. So so it's basically drafted the academic paper for me. So give a brief description, global insights into research, risk and considerations, global guidelines, and then conclusion, and gives me the references that is used. Now, one of the things, as I said, because it hallucinates, you've got to make sure these references are right. But this is a way of quickly writing a paper overnight, and then you can enhance it afterwards. But there's a big but with all of this. So I talked to a lot of AI developers. One of the things they tell me is quite insightful is that they don't actually use AI to come up with ideas. What they do is they come up with the ideas and write it on a piece of paper or wherever they're going to write. And then they will ask the AI to enhance it. So as I said earlier, use it as an assistant rather than to replace your brain. Because I think if you do that, just like you know, we go to the gym and to get fitter, if we don't train our brain all the time, we will kind of lose that ability to think creatively. And even NVIDIA's founder, he keeps saying, learn how to ask questions of AI. So use it as an assistant and learn how to ask the question. And there's a way you can ask questions in which makes it work for you. So I would highly recommend using AI, but not as a first protocol to help you, but come up with the idea yourself. And it could be anything, and then use it to enhance your words. But this is quite a good one. The other one I find quite useful is, this is from Google. So Google's Notebook LLM. So it's got quite a good feature. So this is a document, a welcome back that we designed for the international medical graduates. Let me just going to show you what it does. So this is really good. If you haven't got time to be reading large PDF documents, Word documents that are 100 pages long, you can actually upload it and ask it to give you a summary of it, or turn it into a audio podcast, and it will do that for you. And then you can listen to it whenever you want to. Let me just share with the sound. It's quite good.
Okay, so picture this. You're a doctor and you decide to take the plunge. Move to a whole new country, a new culture to work.
Wow.
Yeah. It's exciting, right?
Yeah.
But where do you even start with like all the practical things?
Right.
Well, in this deep dive, we're going to look at a resource that's designed to help with exactly that.
Okay.
It's a welcome pack put together by NHS England WT&E London.
Okay.
And it's specifically for international medical graduates, so IMGs who are coming to train as GPs in London.
It sounds really valuable. I mean, for someone who's keen to just hit the ground running and really get to grips with everything,
Yeah.
This seems like a really good place to start.
Absolutely. So we're going to be extracting the need-to-know information from this pack, highlighting the resources that are available and all the support systems.
Okay.
So it will go on for about 25 minutes. But this is something you could easily do. So you got a large document, you want to turn it into a podcast, or just want to have the salient points out of that. You can use Notebook LLM. It's free to use. You don't need to pay for it. So all of these AI tools have free versions, so you don't actually need to end up paying for a lot of them. You can use the free version. Any questions on this? So these are kind of some of the three that I use on a regular basis, and I would recommend. But there are lots of others that you might know yourself. Let me go back to my presentation. So as I said, they process human-like text. There's a lot of different ones. So you could do medical transcription, EPI enhancement. So it uses unstructured data, and which can then be structured. Deloitte and Accenture, they've got some products, and then clinical decision support. Now, is anyone using medical AI scribes at the moment? So I've given examples of four there. There's Heidi and Tortoise are probably the two most popular ones. Tortoise is a UK company. It's designed by so there's a guy called Dom. He's a friend of mine. So he was a cardiology registrar who actually left cardiology to develop this. And Heidi's an American company. Lexicom, I'm sure you'll all know, it started off as a dictation company, but they're kind of moving into AI scribes. Is anyone using this at the moment?
We use
Sorry.
we use Heidi.
Use Heidi. How are you finding it?
I find the free version really, really useful. I just signed
Yeah.
up for Pro, which I don't think I like, but free version is really, really good, especially when someone comes in with a simple problem.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. Saves a lot of time.
Absolutely. So anyone else used it?
Yeah, I used for the clinic letters. I can use that, and during the on-call days, we use for the patient conversation without patient identification.
Absolutely. And how are you finding it? Is it
Very
helping
useful, very useful, time saving, and we can copy and paste.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you want me to demonstrate it to anyone, or are you all happy to kind of? Shall I demonstrate it?
Demonstrate, please. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let me. Right. Dr. Rangas, can I ask you to do we'll do a very simple case, a patient. So I'll be the doctor, you be the patient. Say 30-year-old with sore throat, examination shows tonsillitis. I'm going to give some antibiotics. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. So let's go to. Right, I'm going to start a new. So this is Heidi. So I'm going to start a new session. So I've got the free version. I don't have the paid version. Okay, let's start. Hi, this is Dr. Selva. What can I do for you?
Oh, hi, thank you. I haven't been feeling really well the past couple of days, doctor.
Okay, tell me what's been happening.
Oh, I think I've got a temperature, it's feeling hot and cold, my throat is hurting, I can't eat.
Okay, and how long has it been? About a couple of days, did you say? Okay, and you've got a fever.
Mhm.
Okay, and any cough or cold?
Not cough, not really cold, maybe a little bit of runny nose a few days ago, but not anymore.
And so you said your throat is painful. Are you able to swallow fluids like water, juice, that sort of thing?
Really painful. It's like I've got glasses in my throat.
Okay, and any vomiting?
No, no vomiting.
Any rash anywhere?
No rashes.
Okay, and you're passing urine as normal?
Yeah,
Okay, is it okay if I have a look at your throat?
yeah, of course.
Okay, so right, I've had a look at your throat. It looks like your tonsils are quite enlarged and they look red, and I can see some white spots there. So what that suggests to me is you probably have tonsillitis. We use a criteria called Centaur criteria, and it's another criteria called fever pain. It does indicate you most likely would benefit from some antibiotics.
Okay.
So are you allergic to any antibiotics that you know of?
No, I'm not.
No. Okay, so I'm going to give you some penicillin, 250 milligrams, 2 tablets to be taken 4 times a day. Take it for about 5 days, and if you're not feeling better, if your throat's feeling worse, the fever continues, make sure you let us know, or call 111 if it is after hours. Is that okay?
Sure. Thank you.
All right, take care, all the best. Right, so I'm going to stop the... So it's got different templates. So I'm going to create a GP note, but you can create a referral letter and various different templates, ED discharge summary, ED admission notes, and various other things. So let's create this. So that's it. That's my consultation.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you think?
Very good.
Yeah. So yeah. So everything's we talked a lot. So can you see here where I've highlighted my mouse is? It says Goldilocks. Do you know what that means?
It's a long summary, isn't it? I don't know if there's some meaning behind the Goldilocks.
Yeah, it's basically the story of Goldilocks. Goldilocks and the 3 bears. Goldilocks goes into she gets lost in the wood and she goes into the bear's house, and she first tries the papa bears and the mama bears and the baby bears. So that's where so Goldilocks, basically what it means is just enough. So that's what it means. You could actually, if you're somebody who really likes very detailed or super detailed, so I'm going to go to super detail, it's going to generate a super detailed conversation. So you see, so this is a much more detailed consultation. And then you can also, if you're someone like me who doesn't want to write too much, then this is a brief summary. So, and then what you can do is you can just copy and paste it onto your EPR. So it's fairly simple. One of the things I would always say is, because AI hallucinates, just make sure what's in there, because you're responsible for what you write in the medical notes. So you've got to make sure the information is correct, because sometimes it will get it wrong, especially if we have accents or the patient has an accent and it doesn't understand us. It might make things up, because AI is designed to give you an answer. It's designed to please you. So it would actually it might make things up. So, but this is Heidi, and then Tortoise is another product. There is exactly the same.
Can I ask one question?
Of course.
Will it read code when you cut and paste? Will it read code? Because I tried to introduce this one, and my practice manager said, and other few partners said it doesn't read code, and we are using the Ardent template, so they refuse. That one thing. Second thing, they said because where it store the patient information detail, I said it's nothing identifiable data. and they said it's American company and it's in the Google, and they didn't allow to use. And they said, we need to ask the permission from ICB. And we wrote to ICB, we haven't heard anything. I like these things, but they didn't allow me to use. So now I wrote to PCN director to have a permission. Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about that in a second. So your partners are partially right. So we do need to ask. So I'll talk about that in a second about what are the kind of steps we need to take to use any of these tools safely for clinical practice.
Especially, I'm not like a touch typing person. Others are local graduates, they type fast. It made me save my life, but they didn't allow me to use in my practice.
Absolutely. So there are some steps we need to take. I'll talk about that in a second. So it's because you do need to get all the safety things done and demonstrated for CQC. So I'll come back to that in a second. But it's great. So the if you have the paid version of Heidi or Tortoise, you can actually create templates similar to Ardens or even hospital different templates, which then can it will help read code. There are also other medical scribes. There's one called Trend, someone was telling me about, that integrates into EPS. And I'm sure Heidi and others will start integrating with Cerner, Epic, EMIS, System One, and everything else very soon. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But what we can't rely on is for it to automatically integrate, because you are responsible for what goes in the node. So you still need to check before you accept importing the data.
Any system incorporated into the System One. Somebody said Anima is incorporated.
So Anima is incorporated. There's one called MedLoop, Anima. So they're incorporated. So Anima also does triage as well.
What about Lexicom? Is it incorporated in the System One? Lexicom you mentioned?
No, Lexicom is not currently, but I'm sure they will all. It's a matter of just getting what's called the API. API is a bit like it's a link between two different systems, and as long as System One and EMIS and the others allow, Cerner, Epic, some of them are more proactive, some of them aren't. So it will vary.
Thank you.
Okay. Right, so I'm gonna get back to the. Yeah, so these are kind of some of the examples, and in the hospitals, I don't know if any of you have come across this. There's this. So this is not a GP product. This is hospitals. So they use Suki, which is it uses automatic speech recognition. Essentially, it's another ChatGPT type thing, but also does medical scribing as well. And then there's also T-Pro as well. So they do digital dictation and virtual consultations and various other things. Some of the trusts might have these products. So there are lots of different options. So that's the kind of take-home message, really. So I don't think one is more superior to another. It's just whatever your trust or your GP surgery will buy. And then it is rapidly changing. So so Microsoft has come up with all the Heidi and everything I just talked about. Microsoft Dragon. Have any of you got Microsoft Copilot through your NHS accounts? Right. So if you certain ICBs and certain hospitals and NHS England teams have Microsoft Copilot, and Microsoft Copilot is based on ChatGPT, so you can actually do large language model search, but the Dragon is being rolled out as part of the Copilot. So what does that mean? It essentially has all the other products I've just showed you, Heidi, Tortoise, and the T-Pro and everything else. Everything they do, Microsoft is going to start doing as well. So what's most likely is going to happen is, given that NHS has bought Microsoft in bulk, they will probably offer this to us as part of a package. So this is coming. So there's things are rapidly changing. Anyone interested? There are lots of podcasts. There's one called Devon Doc where they kind of talk about AI and health. It's on Spotify. If you're really interested in kind of finding out more about, it is a bit technical, but if you're interested, it's worth listening. So essentially speech recognition, sort of medical scribes, and natural language, and kind of integrates with EPRs. Quite a lot of them, not all of them do, but so some of them do. And again, we kind of talked about this, so I won't kind of repeat this. So these are some of the important considerations. Is some of them need customization, so you need to be able to make it work for your setting. There is a potential for misinterpretation, so some of them might struggle with medical terms, but usually the medical scribes are quite accurate. Hallucination we've already talked about, and patient consent. So if you're going to use Heidi or any of the other products, one of the things I always do is you have to do currently is get patient consent. So I do tell the patients if I'm using it, I'm using a medical scribe, AI medical scribe, which is recording our consultation. A lot of surgeries and hospitals will record phone calls anyway, so it's not an unnatural concept. They just explain to them, say, this is going to get recorded, so can we make sure that so you cover that bit. And I also don't press record until I introduce myself and get the patient's name. So once the patient's given me their name, I start recording after that, not before that. So that's a really important thing. So what that means is the patient's name is not stored. So with Heidi, it's quite an interesting one. So the Heidi's free version is stored in a different server to the paid version. So the paid version is basically stored. The server is in the UK. The free version, the server is in America. But what they say is they don't actually keep the consultations in their servers, and we can always delete it. Tortoise keeps it in the UK. So these are kind of, and they all use ChatGPT as the kind of the base to develop the medical scribes. And then so you know, who's responsible when an AI scribe makes a mistake? It's going to be us, because we're the ones who are using it. We're the ones who are actually importing the data into the patient record systems. And then we kind of talked about the over-reliance on technology. So just the risk of becoming overly dependent on AI scribes. And then you forget about documenting. So I've forgotten how to write, because as a GP, everything's electronic. So my hands are useless now. So they might we don't want to make our brains useless as well. So so it's about using it as an assistant. And these are kind of some of the other kind of systems you might find across hospitals and GP surgeries. There's Clinic, is a digital triage system that uses AI. There's Doctor, which is used in hospitals. There's Anima. There's various other things. Health Tech One does patient registrations in GP surgeries. So there's quite a few of these. And I've talked about Notebook LLM. This Ankit AI, so those of you in general practice, it's quite a useful one. So if you're, I've never used it for hospitals, but I'm sure it will have some useful things in there. Let me show you Ankit AI. I think it's quite neat. So it's ANKIT. Ankit is a GP in Norfolk, and he came up with this product. I'm going to show you this. Can someone tell me a policy that you want written for your workplace?
A policy for urine dipstick test.
Okay, right. Can you write a practice policy for urine? You want to know how to kind of store it, or how to do the urine dipstick? How to dip urine?
How the process should be in the practice from patients dropping their sample to.
Okay. How to process patient urine samples. All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look at. So it's free to use. Can you see you're still writing it? So patient sterile urine collection container, clear instructions, handling, processing, storage, disposal, quality control, review, responsibilities, and then you can kind of search for any references. So yes, so you can actually copy it and change it to, so pretty much all CQC policies you need for your organization, you can use this to write them. So Ankit AI. So that's what my practice manager is using. So you know, any policy, this includes hospitals as well. So any policy you want to write, you could use Ankit AI. It's free, but you can kind of pay him as a one-off donation or as an £8 a month membership. I tend to use this quite a lot. It won't it won't let you asked it to write a response to a complaint letter about a patient who wasn't given the right prescription. And it gave me this. So as long as you don't put the patient details in, so it's really, really important. One of the advantages of Ankit AI compared to all the other ChatGPT and others. ChatGPT, if you put the patient details in, it will give you an answer. And you breach privacy. Whereas with this one, if you put patient details, it won't let you do it. It will say, I can't do it. Yeah. So you know, so it kind of gives you a complaint letter response, and then you can adapt it. So if you're a organization that gets lots of complaints, this is the way to do it. I'm nearly done. Just a few more slides. So AI note takers, I can see you're already using Fathom. Claude is quite a good one. So Claude is it's a credit card size shaped device. You can put it in your pocket. You can keep it there, and it will just record a conversation. It could record meetings, various other things. Again, beware of the privacy issues because everything is stored in the cloud. So and Claude you can buy on Amazon. It's about 150, 120, 150 pounds. A lot of people are using it, and it's also got a smaller version which you can wear around your neck or as on your wrist as well. That's the one on the left, and that can also just record conversation. So if you go into a meeting, and you're in the audience, you can use this to do it. So at the RTGP conference, one of my friends, so he used Claude to record West Streeting's speech, and then it got summarized within seconds of the speech, and he released it on the internet pretty quickly. So those are the kind of good things. The useful thing about Fathom is free. Is the free version is good enough, I think. Whereas Claude, you got to pay for the device, and then give you free storage for certain megabytes, and then for anything additional, you got to pay for. So AI note takers, you're using it, and it kind of integrates with Zoom, Teams, and various other things. It's quite good for capturing lectures and discussions. So any clinical meetings, as long as patient details aren't discussed. So legal requirements, this is what you were asking me earlier on. So every device that includes Epic, Cerner, EMIS, System 1, any technology you use, AccuRx, anything you use, the GP surgery has to have what's called a DB0129, which is a clinical safety case report. And then you need to do something called DTAC, which is, if you Google DTAC Information Commissioner's Office, ICO, there's a template you can download, and then basically you can self-assess that you're meeting all the clinical safety and data protection and technical securities. CQC will expect it, especially, I mean, they're not going to ask for it for the EPRs, but if you're using any new products, when they come, they might ask you, have you done the DTAC self-assessment? And then the other thing is the data protection impact assessment. So how's the data stored? How does it affect the patients? So anything you're going to use, make sure you get permission from the data protection officer at the ICB. The trusts will have a data protection officer internally, so find out who they are and ask them, and they will do the help you do the DPIA, but the other two needs to be done by the surgery themselves. So do not use anything without getting permission from ICB, because the problem is if something goes wrong or a patient complains and you haven't done these, we can get into trouble. So just to kind of further kind of clarify, so this is basically the developers of AI tools. They need to do some the DBO 129, and then the GP, so NHS providers need to do the DBO 160. So these are the kind of two things you need to do. So it's better to leave this to the data protection officer or somebody who's in charge of information governance in your organization to do this first properly before you start using these tools. So essentially, so these are kind of the comparisons. Right. Last slides. So we held a hackathon recently. And in my practice, so there's been a series of 7 hackathons. Anyone know what a AI hackathon is? What we mean by that? Want to have a guess? So basically, it brought together people who just have ideas on various initiatives. And so say you have an idea for an app or a website and you don't know how to do it because you haven't got coding experience. And there are products out there now called Lovable, which is an AI coder. So it would code for you. So you don't actually need to have coding experience to use to actually come up with the idea for a website. I'll demonstrate that in a second. So the concept is called vibe coding. So it means anyone can code. So vibe coding is basically an AI assisted program which lets you code. So you just write in your language, natural language, and it will then turn that into coding. Let me show you this quickly. So I think so that it's quite exciting. Right. Just gonna just cancel my login. Right, so okay. Not this one. You can see this, right? Right, so anyone got an idea for an app you want to create? You can keep it a secret because you could be the next Mark Zuckerberg. So don't tell me the idea. Okay, so I'll. So shall we so create an app for monitoring monitoring a person's heart rate 24 hours a day. So can you see the pop-up? Yeah, okay. So what it's doing is it's writing the code. sometimes it takes a bit longer. So what I'll do is I'll let it run in the background. I'll come back to the presentation. Right, so who's going to get replaced by AI? Apparently paramedics are not going to get replaced, and so we might need to retrain as a marriage counselor or a dermatologist or a pediatrician. So surgeons, if any of you are surgeons, maybe become a pediatric surgeon or something like that. But this is kind of this is guesswork. But I think as doctors, our careers are pretty safe because so my kind of take is AI is going to augment us, so it is going to kind of help us do things better, whether there's patient care, whether there's admin work, or kind of diagnostic accuracy. But our job is always going to be, there's going to be that human touch, because when human beings are in distress, they want to talk to other human beings, and they want empathy. They want and not everything is very straightforward. Not everything you can put it into a protocol-driven box. Some things are very uncertain. Some things are hard to define. And you might know exactly the right thing to do, but the patient doesn't want to follow your advice, so you've got to kind of work with them. So there's lots of things. So I don't think we're going to get replaced by AI at all. But we absolutely need to start embracing it. And that's going to be the way we so there we go. Let me just share the screen with you about the so it's built the app. Can you see this? It's called the app Pulse Track. So I didn't even ask for it to give a name. And then this is daily summary, minimum, average, and then it gives you a history. So this is a mock-up of what it says. I just asked you to design an app that's going to track my heart rate over 24 hours. So this is the kind of daily summary that would give me morning, afternoon, various other things. So very simple to do. So you don't even need any coding experience to actually start developing apps yourself. So that's called vibe coding. Okay, I'll stop now. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it's very insightful. I've learned quite a bit actually. So thank you. Let's get to the chat box. Does anyone have any questions at all? Can I ask? You are an ambassador for AccuRx.
Yeah.
Which is a triage type of how do I call it?
Yeah, so it does. It's kind of so they do they do a couple of things. Basically, they do digital triage, so they help GP practices do total triage, but they also are essentially they see themselves as a communication platform that brings together patients and doctors. So one of the things they're working on at the moment is how do you link up communication between hospital trusts and GPs? Because at the moment, if I want to talk to my consultant colleagues, I need to send electronic referral or I need to send an email in a very clunky way. So they're looking at using AccuMail, which is one of their products. So using AccuMail, which is integrated into the GP systems, to send messages directly to the hospital consultants, whose hopefully their AccuMail was going to be integrated within their EPRs as well. And then the patient in the middle of this. So they see themselves as a digital communication company, which is kind of links patient, hospital, and community.
How does AccuRx compare with Rapid Health AI, which they think is using sort of AI to smart triage?
Yeah, so AccuRx is not AI, so they don't use AI at all. They just use, and it's essentially lets the patient free type whatever they want to, lets you free type whatever you want to. So it's not an AI driven. They are looking at AI at the moment. So I think my kind of personal opinion is they're quite behind in terms of innovation. So they were one of the first people to innovate back as soon as the pandemic hit. it was a massive help for all of us with the text messaging and the triage systems and everything else. But it's been 5 years down the line. They haven't actually innovated. So there are lots of other providers who are using AI within their offer. So we talked about Anima, there's MedLoop, there's Rapid AI, there's one called Blinks, and likewise there's the hospital systems as well. So they will, I'm sure they will get their act together in terms of bringing in AI, but at the moment they're not AI.
Thank you. Dr. Siva Ruben says, it looks like rocket science to me. Thank you for the introduction. Really enjoyed. And Dr. Raj, a great talk, Silva. Thank you. You introduced so many new things to us. Dr. Raj, do you have any questions? You are quite interested in robotics and in surgery and...
Yeah, I'm about to ask Silva.
Yeah.
Thank you. I actually, in fact, you answered few questions and few things. I'm a colorectal surgeon and also kind of regular clinics and things like that.
Yeah.
My clinics, one of the challenge, I tend to see I'm being wasted in the clinic because clinic is almost like a 2 weeks referrals are conveyor belt. So
exactly.
Standard questions, standard answers, and of course I am sitting there as a human face and to interact with them. Sometimes I tend to listen to all people because they want to come and talk to me. That is irrelevant to the whole consultation.
Yeah.
And then at the end results will be either put them to the colonoscopy or put them to the CT or send them home. They're useless. So this actually any AI tool can do. Kind of a humanoid robot sitting there.
Yeah.
That could have been done. Why it's not being done? That was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
And my time can be used productively operating somebody or comment and clearance and those things. This is completely mismanagement. That is one side of it. Other side of it is, of course, teaching students and trainees are a little tricky.
Yeah.
Coming from my surgical side,
yeah.
Though I do say I'm a robotic surgeon, I'm not a robotic surgeon. I am actually controlling a machine sitting in a console. It is not a robot even. Robot meaning is it has to execute and with a command. That is not happening there. What they have done is a broader tool to refine visibility with a three-dimension view, and still which I am controlling.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would have explored that also. I'm expecting a day expanding it, and there must be that whatever the machine which I am operating on or using, that's a tool actually. There may be a humanoid robot might come in between that and me. That could be a computer, that could be a kind of figurative or whatever humanoid look. It may be incorporating every CT scans and every MRI and everything incorporated into it. And it's a kind of customized kind of modulation or three-dimensional pictures or vessels and objects and tumor and everything. And it may overlay or guide me or help me or interact with me what I am doing. That may be a situation I'm expecting. I'm not expecting in 20 years a humanoid robot will be operating in a humans.
Yeah.
But do you think that is soon possible?
I mean, I was just thinking about what you were saying. So we could even push that forward and say, as a patient, say I'm a patient being referred to your clinic with PR bleed.
Yeah.
You could send me a link to an AI-driven platform that basically asks me questions, and then I'm just interacting with it in normal language, natural language, and is translating that into medical scribing on your end. And then either you or a registrar or a SHO could be just looking through the answer and say, okay, they're going to need to go for colonoscopy, or their fit test needs doing, so ask the GP to do the fit test and refer back. So you could even do that without even bringing the patient into the clinic.
Yeah,
you could do that beforehand. So you could actually do a virtual clinic.
Yeah, even patient at home, they can just sit and work through. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I think so. So in kind of triage, it has probably has a really good. So it's not going to replace your clinical decision making. But what it can do is it can give you the answers in a more succinct way, rather than the kind of more clunky way it's being done at the moment. Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I also don't think robots are going to be doing complex surgeries in the next 20 years. 20 years. Yeah.
Mind you, who knows, 1983, 84, when I started, we started learning Jaffna University. When I tell people here, we were taught D-base and basic language to write and things like that. They really shocked. In Sri Lanka, in Jaffna, yes, we were taught. So, and when I look at that, and today, so almost about 42 years down the line, I couldn't even corroborate, or I couldn't figure out. I have come to even my training also, when I look at it, open surgeon and things like that, and I also kind of become laparoscopic with robotic, but still robotic, I think it's primitive. The way the whole digital world has evolved, our surgery didn't incorporate digital and AI system very well yet. But still, it's a marvelous thing. So who knows, in 5 years, 10 years time, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the rate limiting thing is going to be, we don't actually have the proper hardware and software. So the NHS computers are too slow.
Mind you, not only that, Intuitive is one of the bigger, about 100 platforms around there, the robotic. Intuitive is one of the platform which has brought and become successful over 20 years now. It's also started only for prostate. But the issue where what they have, the same restriction you have, the data restrictions, every single images, it is not being stored by the Intuitive. It is not being used to generate new things.
That's right.
They are not interacting. There's a chunk of lots of knowledge and visibility and videos and everything we have. And there's a need for incorporate that into the scans and things like that. And then corroborate together and bring out. That is not happening.
Exactly.
And also, whether that platform, what they are using, Intuitive, is made for that, tuned for that, we don't know. I'm yet to see there's another very marvelous platform come incorporating everything. Maybe Chinese. You know that one of the breakthrough in Chinese, similar model, similar platform they are doing. Recent from Rome, they have operated in China with a very few millisecond differences, because that's a major problem, the time delay in handling. So that is not the AI actually, that's a hardware, as you said. So that
exactly.
5G gives that type of things. So sorry, I am talking too much. I should not.
So I don't know if you're all familiar with NHS Federated Data Platform.
No.
So let me. I'll just put a.
So interesting to listen to your whole thing. I'm so inspired. So and I can see your way you express and things like that. Everything you absorbed everything inside you. You remind me of my son actually. He also writes codes, things like that.
Yeah. I don't know anything about coding or anything. So NHS England have commissioned Palantir. So the problem is Palantir is a American company who actually started off working with the CIA and also Mossad. So that's where Palantir comes from. If you Google Palantir, Palantir, so they've been given a £350 million contract for NHS Federated Data Platform. So essentially, what they're doing is they're pulling data from hospital clinics, patient data, and everything else. And the intention is that they're gonna kind of use that to enhance patient care, increase efficiencies, and help with research, decision making, and improve patient outcomes. So it all sounds brilliant until you kind of dig into who's actually having access to the data. They don't yet control the GP data, but what's happening is in the GP contract, we now, all of us have to have cloud telephony. So as part of cloud telephony and triage systems, they're going to start pulling GP data as well. And GP data is much more comprehensive than hospital data because every hospital encounter will come back to the GP. So it's quite an exciting thing, but the worry is always going to be, what are they going to do with the data? Are they going to sell it to intelligence agencies? Are they going to sell it to insurance companies and various other things? So I think this is why we need to go into it with our eyes open, because the thing is, it's okay for us as clinicians on our end, but one day, if we're patients ourselves, we want to be We want to know how our data is being used and is being used in the right way for advancing patient care efficiencies and so on. So that's a federated data platform. The other thing is is quantum computing. So the hackathon we ran, we had the sponsors. A couple of the sponsors were quantum computing companies. And the stuff that's happening with quantum computing is amazing. So quantum computing is where PCs were in the 1980s. So they're about 20, 30 years behind in terms of what it can do. But at the moment, when you ask the computer to do something, it does it linearly, 1 0 1 0 1 0. With quantum computing, it works on all planes. So it will do trillions of calculations in seconds. So it's already being used for life sciences, medical research, discovering new compounds and various other things. So with AI and quantum computing, I think it's going to revolutionize things even more. And that's a much scarier thing, because all your bank accounts and everything else, everything that's on this with a lock sign on it, quantum computing will break it in minutes.
One of my friends,
can I ask one question? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So hi, I'm Kanan. I'm actually using my wife's login, so it says Kalyani Kanan. I'm an anesthetist intensivist.
Hi.
The technology, I'm very primitive stage, so I don't use the technology, which is I'm very impressed the way you are talking all sort of different levels. So whenever I'm talking about this AI and chat GPT, my daughter will say that, I mean, in other ways, so in anesthetic, what we're doing all the time, wherever we go, green anesthesia, try to cut down the wastage and take in some anesthetic gases. But when I'm talking to my daughter, even now, is that, no, don't use chat GPT. This is not environment friendly. So we were one side, we were talking about the next generation, global warming, electric car and everything. But on other side, are we promoting this sort of unnecessary, so much of wastage and global warming?
Yeah, so that's an absolutely important question, and I think your daughter is right. So all these these users, large language models, ChatGPT and all the others, use much more electricity than traditional Google search. But even traditional Google search, if you go into Google now and start asking anything, it's using its Gemini AI. So one of the top answers you'll get in Google is AI driven. So unless we use renewable sources to generate the electricity to use for any of this. And the other biggest thing is cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, they use the amount of electricity used for cryptocurrency is the same as the whole of electricity used in Netherlands. So it's massive. It's got lots of carbon emissions. So unless we generate the electricity from renewable sources, so we are letting ourselves into big problem by using it. But in the UK, we are kind of moving towards more renewable sources. So America is different. Other countries are different. China, despite everything, they're one of the highest investors of renewable energy sources in the world. So they produce more solar panels than the rest of the world put together. So I think things will move, but you're absolutely right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
One other thing, we may have some time. Thing is, most of the, I think, radiology and histopathology is little slightly still challenging. The decision making and things like that, but it's a pattern detection.
Yeah.
Kind of, if a very good AI tool already proven radiology, I'm not sure how many radiologists are with us now. We do have a few of our products, radiologists around, because and also the bias, because we are all kind of narrow vision, tunnel vision. We tend to miss things. So this have a better kind of detection rate and things like that. That is one of the breakthrough. So they are in danger as well, in the sense their job.
Yeah, absolutely. So the bias is a very important thing. Okay, so let me. So I'm asking ChatGPT to draw an image of a stressed out surgeon in the UK. Can you see?
Yeah.
I asked it to draw an image of a stretched out surgeon in a UK hospital. Invariably, they will draw a white person, a male person.
Yes.
Right. It's because most of the data on the so essentially all these large language models troll data on the internet. Most of the data available to us is from Europe or America. So it's very, very Eurocentric, American centric. So essentially, there's a lot of bias. So it will then I'll need to ask it to, then so thank you. Make the doctor more ethnically ambiguous, and then it will let's see what it comes up with. There you go. So
I just wanted to ask.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something slightly. I challenged DeepSeek. When the DeepSeek came, I asked a question because this is completely China-based. I asked the question, are there Chinese Muslims being treated badly by Chinese government?
Yeah.
And immediately, the same question I asked the ChatGPT as well.
Yeah.
The answer I got it immediately, almost it's like a cut and paste from ChatGPT to DeepSeek.
Yeah.
But within a second, immediately everything gone. And it out with this information cannot be kind of subscribed or cannot be given.
Yeah.
So that clearly shows whatever the AI system, whatever the things, whether it's China or whether it's America, everything is controlled or influenced by.
Absolutely.
So how efficiently they are doing, I was amazed.
Yeah.
Do you agree this has a big bias on it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I kind of repeatedly said about my kind of privacy and other concerns. It's about who is using the data and how are they giving us the data. I think it's a big issue. And if you look at Twitter, for instance, or X, so it's got Grok, which is Elon Musk's AI, so it could. Potentially, Elon Musk could change it to give you answers that's favorable to him.
Yeah.
And likewise, Facebook, what they've done is they've gotten rid of all their content moderation team.
Yeah.
So and then there's if you look, I don't know if you all have it. So WhatsApp now has Meta AI in it.
Okay.
So it's being rolled out gradually. So my phone, whenever I open up WhatsApp, it's got Meta AI, and I can ask it questions.
Yeah.
I can ask him to send WhatsApps to whoever I choose to in my contact list. So if it hasn't come, it will. Sometimes there's a bit of a lag. My son had it first, and then now I've got it a couple of weeks later. So even then, so they could decide. Facebook could decide. Meta could decide who's going to share the data, and
this is actually just to share with other also. Have you ever watched a film called 1984?
Yeah, George Orwell. Absolutely.
It's almost a new version of 1984.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We are all prisoners of all these present. It's so scary.
Yeah.
When you show me the AI itself started coding, which actually made me so feel creepy and whole because then I don't know where it's going to end, where it's going to control and how we are going to be.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, there's anyone. So that's Lovable doing it. You can actually go to Perplexity and ask it to code in Python. And then it will code in Python, and then you just copy and put it into Lovable, and it will build the app even more advanced than what I just showed you.
Okay.
So there's lots of stuff happening with it. So I think as doctors, we're all used to learning complex things and dealing with complex things. So yes, it's a new language, it's a new way of working, but we've learned much harder things, in my opinion. So we can do this too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for having me. I didn't even know this existed. So I came here when I was 13 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm from Karawati. And Nisan then he's married to my cousins. That's how we met. Yeah. So so I did all my kind of GCSE A-level here.
Actually, I feel proud to see you and with this knowledge and with the extent of information and sharing with us. Thank you so much. Actually,
thank you so much.
Very proud.
Excellent. Is there anything else that?
Nishant, then Ranga.
Yeah.
No, thanks, Rajan.
Okay.
I think it's up to Ranga to.
Well, thank you, Stella, for your time. We've all learned quite a lot, and I'm sure I'll be texting you as well. But thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for participating as well. Have a good night.
There's some certificates. Please download. You won't get any worse.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Selva. I may sometimes harass you. Okay.
Absolutely. You got just my email selvasilan.selvaraj@nhs.net.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Rajan.
Okay. Goodbye. Bye.
Wow.
So I'm just downloading the certificate. Okay. Sandeep, ma.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Bye.
That's very nice. It was very nice, and Nishant, very brainstorming. I couldn't cope sometimes. So much. My brain is very aging brain.
Yogan, since you're the IT person for JMFOA, you have to up your game.
And my IT is not. I'm amateur sort of artist.
யோன்கிட்ட அந்த ஐடி தான் இருந்து பதக்கம் போட்டி வந்துட்டு போயிருக்கேன் என்ன யோன்
அதுதான் இனி ஒரு ஏஐ பர்சன் வந்து இந்திய தூக்க போறான்.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay.